So why don't you talk a little bit about what that's been like for you, just being a part of that organization, and what you feel some of the future is. I mean, I know you guys, like I said, just did this kind of repositioning, might be a better word for it,
Yeah.
from lead pops to Rebel IQ. I'd be curious about that, and just kind of what you see as the future for that.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, you're right on the money. Is and look, and nothing against the companies that I work for, but there's structure, right? There's a lot of structure, and I'm one that I can play within structure, but at the end of the day, it's funny is Andrew Pollack, the founder and CEO of now Rebel IQ. He's been a good friend of mine for years, and so we've always talked about at some point, it'd be cool if we could work together. And prior to my last position, I almost went and worked with him, and just I'd already
Mm.
committed to doing something else. But Andrew would always, if I was frustrated or something, Andrew's like, "Man, you just got to let the eagle fly." And so that's kind of our internal joke is letting the eagle fly. And that's the thing, is Andrew doesn't really put me in any boxes to where I have to play at a certain level. I'm able to be myself. And so far with the results and things that I'm doing is when I have, control and autonomy to do what I know how to do. And, we find success. And that's what we've been doing these last few months, especially with the transition. We call it more of an evolution of what Rebel IQ is what we provided to the industry is something important, focusing on, conversion, right? Converting and turning
For
clicks into
sure.
clients is like what we said. But at the end of the day, that ends up being somewhat of a commodity business, right? Because you could get a website anywhere, you could get,
Yeah.
funnels anywhere, forms and stuff like that. But even with that, there's strategy and services and putting everything together that makes it special. And so we had to evolve to be beyond a commodity and pull all these things together, start creating new services to meet to what our clients need today and what they're going to need in the future. And I think the missing piece is that, Andrew's only one guy, right? And he's the CEO. So, he's got a lot of vision. We think about marketing almost exactly the same way. We look at what the market needs, and we hope we have similar backgrounds in marketing and sales. And so I think what was needed was, us working together is he had someone to depend on to see some of these visions into reality. Also bring in that expertise that I have, is like you mentioned, is that, I've ran consumer direct. I've generated over 300 million in closed loans through that. I've run wholesale marketing, retail marketing. I've been an executive on sales, technology, strategy, marketing in this industry. And so I use all it. And when I look at, competitors or other companies, and even outside of like a marketing space, is that generally there's not that type of that acumen, that experience to expertise that helps bring everything together. Also being a coach of loan officers, right? And so I think nobody understands their clients as much as as we do, and I think we have the tools to do that. But now it's time to evolve to something different. Rebel IQ is right up my wheelhouse when it comes to different first, better second, right? Is to go against the status quo, to be a contrarian, right? To be a rebel, right? To a guy that we both look up to and that has taught us a lot, and that Dan Kennedy. It's that renegade mindset, right?
Right.
And not to do the same thing as everyone else. And so that's really what Rebel IQ's evolved to, is to add more services on top. How do we create better connections with agents? How do we help with coaching, and how do we help with all aspects of marketing, and then using our platform as like that foundation to bring everything together and say like, hey, we just told you how to do X, Y, and Z. Now you have all the tool set to go and do that. And we're going to be adding more to that, some more partnerships to help loan officers. And, I say this all the time, we don't really have any competitors because not everyone does what we do. And when I say that, a lot of people know me. I'm not a big guy on bravado, and I'm not saying that like, hey, we're the best and you can go somewhere else and you're not as good. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that everyone has something different, right? And to me, it's just like when people ask like what the best CRM is, or this or that, best way to get leads and all that other stuff. It's all about fit, right? Like, I mean, there's going to be some people, like with you guys, there's going to be some people where the good vibe squad, ecosystem and what you guys do as a fractional CMO, like that's going to be right up their wheelhouse, and that's what they need, right? Fantastic. Right. Awesome. Right. Sometimes it's gonna be us, sometimes it's gonna be our boy Luke, right? It's gonna be something, right? And who cares? There's plenty. the way I look at it, and like I mentioned to you, is that like, look, there's going to be plenty of business for all of us. I'd rather it be us, the people I just mentioned that are ended up went for shit and dominating. And so like, but at the end of the day, what I'm really rebelling against it when I say the status quo is the ancient dinosaur mindset that the industry has come up with since I got in the industry and before, is that of how you acquire customers, right? We get into this bubble of mortgage, and then we look at every other industry, every other vertical when it comes to marketing and growth. And then they get in the mortgage and all of a sudden they think consumers are different, right? They all seem that, and it just doesn't work that way. All of a sudden, just because of it's a price point, there's a lot of things that are a bigger price point than buying a house where the consumers are still a consumer. And so what I focused on as a marketer is I didn't focus on a mortgage consumer, a real estate consumer. I focused on like neuromarketing. Why do consumers say yes? Why do they do it? Why do they do what they do? Like I focused on the other marketers outside the industry, like a Russell Brunson, right? Or a Dan Kennedy, or Gary Vaynerchuk and others out there. And then not only that, but I looked at outside salespeople and entrepreneurs and how they built their businesses and how they looked at sales and marketing, and then tried to be a sponge and learn everything I can, and then figured out how do I make that work in our industry. And it does. It's hard, right? It's hard to move that cheese for people. And so Rebel IQ is the embodiment of all of that. Is just like, look, we may not be a fit for you, and we're not trying to convince you, right? Like if I have to sit there and have a conversation about a loan officer, why video is important, right? Probably not a good fit, right? Like I'm not here to, and I tell that, like I try to, every call I'm on, I try to tell people, I try to scare them, right? I just try to say like, I try to convince them not to sign up with us or whatnot, because I know if they do, then they're probably our type of person, right? It's about having that dream 100, about that perfect avatar of our client, and to help people that want to be helped and that want to be coached to do something different, because then there's no other way. And if people haven't seen what's happened from like 2010 to 2020, where we really just commoditized the mortgage industry, is where like, hey, no one is better than the other person. I could just get a mortgage anywhere, except it all comes down to rate. You're not going to grow that way. You're going to stay in perfect competition, which isn't good for anybody. It's not good for the consumer, and it's not good for trying to grow a company, right? And so that's why, and we've had this conversation before too, about like with a market downturn and things being, this is when empires are made. This is when people make their bones. And I know you're up for it. I know I'm up for it. I know AP's up for it. Like, it's a good time, and we're excited. We're excited because the people that have come along, with us, and look, it takes time. It even internally trying to, change the nomenclature from Lead Pops to Rebel IQ to, and look, Lead Pops isn't going anywhere. We've decided to call that as our SaaS platform. That's going to be the name of our SaaS platform. And we're, look, it's going to take some time, but so far, our growth has increased these last few months. Our leads, our demo requests, all of that stuff has increased compared to what it's last year. And this is a tough market to sell in, but I think we're up to the task.